Z, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're talking about the interior design trends I think need to go. They're past their prime, if you will. Now, first things first, let's remember these are just my opinions. Design is completely subjective. We all like different things, and that's kind of the beauty part. There's something for everyone, nothing's for everyone, and that leaves plenty of things to be, well, honest about. No hard feelings if you love these styles. You do you. Your home should rise up to meet you. Just make sure you really love it, okay? My last video was more of an objective-ish list of what's trending for the new year, and today's video is purely my opinion on the things that I'd like to see less and less of. Releasing a similar video last year, it was so much fun to hear all of your strong opinions in the comments, so don't forget to let me know what you think of each of these styles down below. Soft girl is an aesthetic that rose in social media and has quickly leached into home decor. I have seen an abundance of rooms that rely heavily on pastel color palettes and don't have a lot of contrast. As a result, they end up coming off pretty juvenile looking, in my opinion. It's this very soft and dreamy sort of space, a lot of crawling vines, twinkly lights, millennial pink, a lot of shag rugs, faux fur, and yeah. For me, this feels juvenile because it relies heavily on all these pastel colors. It feels very child's bedroom. I don't know, it's not for me. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have a beautiful design with pastel colors. I think the key here is just to layer in a bolder jewel tone or a darker contrast color to give the eyes somewhere to move, just to level up the sophistication of a room so it doesn't feel so babyish. Try a bold contrasting wall color, try a large piece of artwork with contrasting color or no color at all. Balance and contrast makes even a pink sofa work, as you can see in these rooms, but if the pastel thing is your jam, you go for it, soft girl. Next, cheap replicas. We all love a great deal, I certainly do, and it can be very challenging to save up for a designer piece of furniture or completely out of context for what's possible for you. But is buying a replica ethical? Is it a good investment? Let me give you an example. The egg chair was created in 1958 in Copenhagen and became famous by virtue of its appearance on Big Brother. The original chair was made by Arne Jacobsen, an architect and designer passionate about combining functionalism and simplicity, not to mention comfort. An original egg chair would cost you upwards of $5,000, but today you can find replicas on websites across the internet for in the neighborhood of about $600 to $700. This original Eames lounger costs upwards of $7,000 to $8,000, where its replica costs a mere $1,000. The UK even banned replicas of famous designs like the egg chair and the Barcelona chair until 2041 and 2039 respectively. Good design can take time to save up for, it can take time to make, and it costs a lot. If you're going to consider buying a replica, I want to give you a couple of tips to keep in mind. Number one, consider quality. Not all replicas are equal. There's all different levels of quality out there, and you really want to do a little bit of legwork, comb through the reviews, and look at that return policy. Make sure that you're getting something that you want and is worth whatever price that you decide to pay for it. When making these decisions, keep the original designer in mind. I remember when I was standing in Italy holding a fake Fendi bag in my hand thinking this would be a really easy way to get this thing that I've been thinking about, but ultimately I just didn't feel comfortable ripping off that designer's work. Designers work very, very hard to create new and interesting designs and do deserve to be paid for their efforts, but that's not always within reach for everyone. And you might want high style even if you're looking to shop on a budget. Remember lifetime value. It's okay to wait for things. It's okay to save up. It's okay to live without a sofa for a year so that you can get the one you really want. And if you're looking for forever quality, if you don't want to rebuy and rebuy every few years or so, then you might want to save up and invest in one beautiful, perfect piece for your home. Ultimately, it all comes down to your budget and availability. You have to decide what you want to spend, what you feel comfortable with, and buy the highest level of quality you can at that price point. I know I've already kind of ragged on a pastel palette, yeah, but we're going there. Pastel-Heavy Grandmillennial. Not all Grand Millennial is created equal, and not all Grand Millennial styles are pastel heavy, in my experience researching the topic. And I'm noticing that a lot of sort of Grand Millennial designers from the 2021-2020 era are deepening their designs with bolder hues and contrast. But I'm still seeing a little bit of overzealous pastel Grand Millennial. It just, again, it feels very juvenile to me. It feels like a kid's bedroom, but living room. It's like, how did this child afford this huge home and a designer to get all of these kids' fabrics all over the house? What is this, a Barbie doll explosion bedroom? It reminds me of like Barbie doll dream house from the 80s pastel version. If you're going for a traditional home in the new year, try to add more contrast, whether that's with some dark woods, maybe some dark flooring, a bold area rug, or maybe even a deep piece of furniture. It could even be light and bright and airy with some black accents throughout if you want to stick in the neutral color palette. More than anything, I just want to see a little bit more maturity in these designs. It's totally okay to love pastels and use them. I just find that they're so much more effective when there's a little bit of a sophisticated, deeper color to balance them out. This is true if you're going for that soft girl, sort of modern aesthetic, but it's also very true with Grand Millennial. And Grand Millennial can tip baby girl's bedroom really quickly if we don't give it that bold color to balance it out. But again, you do you. If this is your thing, if you just love that pastel Barbie doll traditional living room, if that's you, oh my gosh, I will come to tea. Just kidding, I won't. Next, mid-century plus boho may be on the way out. As someone who pursued this style for several years, I am moving away from it, and you should too. Honestly, looking at some of these old inspiration photos that I gathered from years past, they just come off looking really cluttered. There's just a lot of draping plants, a lot of graphic artwork, a lot of styling, and I don't know, just starts to feel cookie cutter after a while. It gets into that sort of social media zone of decorating, not truly inspired design. And I feel like this is just a style that's just been copied, and now it's at that point where it's just coming off kind of lifeless and personalityless. There's so much heavy wood tone and deep hue. A lot of these styles I feel just need a little bit more lightness. Looking at these photos, I just really want to declutter. I'd love to take away about half the styling and see the lines of the furniture kind of take center stage. This is hard for me to admit. I gotta say, I really did love some of these photos. Try marrying mid-century modern with simple luxury. Invest in statement artwork, sculptural modern lighting. Furniture with clean lines and interesting shapes can take center stage while being supported by decor elements, not overtaken by too much styling. You can still have that cognac leather sofa, you can still keep those plants. Just think really hard about what you're layering in and try to think of less maybe being a little bit more. Monochromatic all-white design hit a huge tipping point, and then it started to kind of fall out of favor in the last couple of years, especially in kitchens. Although an all-white interior can be light and bright and beautiful, it can feel large and spacious and comfortable. There's so much that can be said about a beautiful all-white interior. However, I can't say that it really shows off much of your personality. It definitely has that builder grade, boring kind of feeling where it's all white cabinets, all white countertops, all white backsplash, all white everything, all white linens, all white pottery, everything just comes off flat and white. And again, if that's your thing, I mean, honestly, you go there. But for me, it's been really fun to see just a little bit more personality come out. Monochromatic feels calming and makes your space feel larger, consider branching away from plain white. Add natural wood elements to give a little bit more contrast. Go for a warm near white rather than a stark white. That's been a big trend in kitchen cabinets in the last year. Going for a little bit of an off or warmer white to contrast against a white wall, adding a little bit more layer while still being neutral and great for resale value. And if you're really bent on keeping your whole space white, try investing in in some items with texture. Try balancing an abundance of white with a darker stain on the floor, maybe an interesting runner or area rug, and even dark fixtures like lighting and cabinet hardware. Next, fast furniture. Now, I know this might be a tough one. It's definitely been hard for me. I've consumed a fair amount of fast furniture myself. But in the way that we're thinking more about fast fashion and its negative impact on our world, fast furniture and fast home decor are quickly rising as the next big concern in this arena. Although we will always love a good deal, concern for our environment and availability of products has really changed the way that we're thinking about adding things to our homes. Honestly, I think too, the pandemic, staying home, really forced us to think about the level of quality of what we're bringing into our homes. Having to sit for way too many hours on our home office chair maybe highlighted some flaws of buying the cheapest possible mid-century modern looking, speaking about myself, office chair. You know, it can really be a drag to have to replace something, and it feels awful to have to get rid of something that you bought not very long ago purely because it just has not held up. So it's better for the environment, for your wallet. You won't be redecorating every few years if you invest a little bit more in the quality. There's a couple different ways that you can do that. Of course, you can save your money and buy something higher quality from a more reputable retailer, somebody that's making quality goods that are really gonna last. But you can also scour the vintage market. That's why I think vintage has skyrocketed during the pandemic. Obviously, because of the uniqueness, you can add more personality to your home when adding vintage. Also, vintage and a lot of antique pieces are higher quality than we expect from retailers today. Just like fast fashion is a lot of sort of throwaway, terrible seams, hem is falling out, fast furniture and fast home decor are gonna give you a similar result. They're gonna fall apart, they're not gonna hold up, especially if they're things that you're buying for comfort. Side chairs, accent chairs, stools, definitely desk chairs. That's a big one if you're spending 8 hours a day in that chair. Is it built to hold up to that? And is it going to maintain the comfort and, you know, for your body? Anyway, if you're looking to renovate a kitchen this year, one thing you might be seeing a little less and less of exposed hoods from kitchens. Now, this was a design staple for quite a long time. People were sourcing all kinds of fancy restaurant-style hoods, metal hoods, custom hoods, and then a lot of companies started churning out interesting designs in the ready-made sector. But now I'm starting to see a de-emphasis on above-counter styling. For example, we're seeing a lot more walls of cabinets and then other walls completely free of upper cabinets to give a little bit more openness and make a kitchen feel like it's part of another room. Another thing I'm noticing is we're covering up these hoods. A lot of people are building structures and then drywalling around a hood so that that metal piece isn't exposed at all, but you still have the functionality of a hood in your cook space. In smaller kitchens with big doors nearby or good ventilation, I'm also seeing the absence of hoods altogether, which for me, I would want to have that convenience in our kitchen. I kind of like this de-emphasis on upper clutter in a kitchen, especially if you have the space. Really consider eliminating upper cabinets and maybe drywalling or making some sort of tile or other decorative covering for that hood area, de-emphasizing that, making it sort of blend into the room a little bit more. Then you can add fine artwork, you can add solid surface backsplash, maybe a very simple shelf, not necessarily open shelving on a wall, but maybe one simple shelf that's become very popular lately, and then very curated little bits of styling. Finally, the design style I definitely don't want to see more of is the other side of cottagecore, Goblincore. This is cottagecore gone a little too far. Now, I can see some aesthetic value in cottagecore, especially when it's that light and bright, rustic woods, cabin, utilitarian, fresh flowers, terracotta, fresh herbs, sourdough starter, linen on the table. I just love that. All natural, sort of comfortable and cozy feeling like you got away from it all, away from the bustle of city life. But when we get into this Goblincore, it's too much. Like, are we living the lifestyle of a hobbit? Are we trying to save our money to build our dream hobbit hole? I don't know. It's a lot. Mushroom artwork, hanging vines, or worse, hanging fake vines with a ton of twinkly lights between them, like you're trying to create this sort of magical underground world of a hobbit or a goblin, I suppose. I'm all for everyone dancing to the beat of their own drum, designing their home. I just hope you truly love this. If this is what you're buying into, I just wonder, are you going to look at this in a couple of years and think, wow, I'm living in a hobbit hole. I just I wouldn't do it. But yeah. I hope you enjoyed this little run through some of the styles I'd like to see less and less of this year. And seriously, if any of these are your one true love in design, you do you, honey. It's your house and you have to love it. They just aren't the cream in my coffee. As always, these are my opinions, so don't forget to share yours in the comments down below. Like and subscribe for more interior design and home decor videos, and check out these videos over here. In the meantime, I will see you in the next video. Bye, friends. Happy decorating!